You ever hear your marriage die in the third person? Because I did. It happened at 5:02 p.m. on a Thursday, in the kitchenette of a mid-tier marketing firm in Austin, where the only thing more inflated than the egos were the job titles. I was waiting on the Keurig, scrolling through a spreadsheet that was about as exciting as drywall, when two junior creatives walked in behind me, laughing. "You catch the parking lot show last Friday?" "Oh my God, yes," the other one said. She was really putting on a performance. I thought the windows were going to fog like a movie. More laughter. The kind of laughter that makes you feel like you've just swallowed a battery. They didn't see me. Or maybe they did. But neither paused when one added, "Poor husband. Dude probably thinks she's working overtime." That was the moment. Not the cheating. Not the betrayal. Just that sentence. That casual, dismissive poor husband. Like I was some background NPC in a story I didn't know I was in. I didn't say a word. I left the mug half filled and walked back to my desk, spreadsheet forgotten. My face must have looked normal. I'd learned to keep it neutral around here. Smile just enough, nod at the right pace, and don't take too long in the break room. Classic office camouflage. I watched the clock hit 4:45. Right on cue, Amanda's desk chair squeaked. My wife. Her voice floated over the cubicle wall like nothing was wrong. "I'm going to take this client call in my car. Shouldn't be long." She did this a lot. Daily, in fact. Always around the same time. Always the same chirpy excuse. Now, to most people that wouldn't be suspicious. But I've been married to Amanda for 7 years. And let me tell you something. My wife hates the phone. Hates talking. Has to psych herself up to schedule her own dentist appointments. So why the hell was she suddenly chatty at 4:45? And why was a couple of interns joking about window fog? I didn't confront her that night. What was I going to say? "Hey babe, quick question. Have you been running a matinee production of Unfaithful, The Office Chronicles out of your Subaru every evening?" No. I needed to see it for myself. And I did. The next day, I got to work early. Parked my old Tacoma in the lot across the street. Put the sunshade up. Wore a hoodie. Ate a protein bar like I was prepping for a stakeout, because, well, I was. At exactly 4:43, Amanda strutted out the main doors, phone in hand. Classic business casual. Blazer, blouse, heels just high enough to feel deliberate. She clicked her key fob, opened the car door, and sat down in the driver's seat. 2 minutes later, someone else appeared. An intern. I didn't know his name. Just that he looked like a frat house spilled into a banana republic and somehow got hired to make TikToks for the firm. He jogged to her car like a golden retriever late for a treat. And then, they didn't talk. They didn't call anyone. They climbed into the back seat. What happened next was, let's say, inappropriate for the parking lot of a business with a family-friendly policy. At one point, Amanda's leg kicked the door, closed behind him. The windows didn't fog, not like the joke implied, but her blouse sure did end up pressed against the glass for a few seconds. I sat there the whole time. Didn't cry. Didn't scream. Just watched. And when they finally emerged, disheveled, breathless, Amanda tucking her shirt back in while checking her reflection in the rearview mirror, I turned the key in my ignition, rolled down the sunshade, and pulled away like I was leaving a bad movie halfway through. I didn't need to see the ending, because I was going to write my own. People always think the most painful part of betrayal is the moment you catch them. It's not. The real pain comes after, when you realize how many moments you missed, how many signs you waved off, how many tiny choices you let slide because that's just how she is. Like the way Amanda always got home from work in a better mood than she went in. I used to think, wow, she must really love her job. Now I think, no, she really loved the back seat. I didn't tell her what I saw. Not yet. That night, I played my role like a pro. Asked about her day. Let her talk about the new campaign she was pitching to some local vegan soap brand. She had a whole strategy mapped out. Influencers, eco-aesthetic, targeted ad spend. Sounded smart. Sounded sharp. Sounded like the Amanda I used to know. The same Amanda who was currently swapping bodily fluids with an intern who probably still owned a class ring. But I didn't let it show. Because this wasn't going to be a screaming match in our kitchen. I wasn't going to catch her mid-lie and give her a chance to weaponize her tears. I wasn't interested in a confession. I wanted consequences. And I was going to deliver them publicly. Efficiently. Without flinching. You know what they say. Hell hath no fury like a man who knows his wife's lunch break includes cardio. So I started planning. First thing I did, update the resume. Not because I was desperate. I was already good at what I did. Better than Amanda, honestly. But I knew if I was going to blow the whole circus tent down, I couldn't still be inside when it collapsed. By Monday morning, I had 3 calls lined up with recruiters. By Wednesday, I'd had 2 interviews. By Friday, I had an offer from our firm's top competitor, a sleek, well-funded agency downtown that had poached half our creatives in the last year. The irony? Amanda had once called them the Gen Z attention hounds with logos made in Canva. Now I was going to call them home. With my exit secured, I could focus on the reveal. I didn't want yelling. I didn't want gossip. I wanted irrefutable proof and maximum exposure. A moment that would ripple through the office like a live grenade with a smiley face sticker on it. So I started building something corporate, a fake pitch deck. I called it Brand Intimacy, New Angles for Legacy Connection. Sounded buzzword-y enough that no one would question it. Just enough vague synergy talk and upward graphs to pass as legit. I even pulled some recycled case studies from previous clients. Took me 2 days. The final slide? A live feed from our building's parking lot security cam. Specifically the angle that pointed right at Amanda's car. Yes, that car. I didn't even need a tech guy. The feed was available through a web portal for authorized use. All I had to do was log in using the credentials I still had from when I helped redesign the security page during the rebranding project. Oh, the perks of being boring and dependable. You remember passwords. Once the deck was done, I scheduled a meeting. All staff creative brainstorm, required attendance. I made sure it came from my corporate email and added the heads of each department as CCs, including Amanda's boss. The calendar invite was accepted by 42 people. 42. Perfect. I sent Amanda a private message. Hey, heads up, I'm leading a brainstorm on client intimacy and cross-departmental strategy Friday. Would love your voice in the room. She replied 3 minutes later. Sure thing, Mr. Strategy winking face. Cute. Friday came fast. The meeting was scheduled for 4:30 p.m. I knew she'd try to duck out like always. But this time, I had her trapped. By 4:25, the room was buzzing. Whiteboards. Seltzer cans. That weird hum of forced creativity people fake in group settings. Amanda sat across the room, spinning a pen between her fingers, looking like the confident overachiever who always had a comment queued up. She had no idea. I clicked through the first few slides. Talked about emotional retention and multi-sensory loyalty tactics. Some people nodded like they understood. Amanda looked mildly bored. Then I reached the final slide. The room went still. On the projector screen, in glorious high resolution, was a live video feed of the parking lot, currently focused on her car. The timestamp sat in the top corner. The footage was from last week. And in it, Amanda, climbing into the back seat with the intern. The angle was perfect. Not explicit, but suggestive enough that everyone knew. Her face. His. The motion. The blurred outline of desperation. The door slamming closed as they disappeared behind tinted glass. The sound in the room died. Someone coughed. One of the junior designers whispered, "Oh my God." Amanda's chair creaked. She turned her head toward me. Face pale. Lips parted. I let the moment breathe. Then I clicked again. The next screen said simply, "And that, folks, is brand intimacy." I closed the laptop. Silence. Then Amanda's boss stood up. "Amanda, my office." Now. She opened her mouth, closed it, gathered her things with hands that suddenly couldn't stop shaking. Everyone watched her leave. I stood too, picked up my badge, dropped it on the table. "I won't be needing this," I said. Someone chuckled. Couldn't tell who. I walked out. No applause. No standing ovation. Just silence thick enough to choke a room. And on my way to the elevator, I got a notification. My new job's offer letter was finalized. Start date, Monday. Across the street. Better pay. Better title. And best of all, no Amanda. The elevator ride down felt longer than usual. Not in a bad way. Just weighted, like the air had turned into something thicker, heavier. I pressed the button for the ground floor, felt the slow drop start, and finally exhaled a breath I didn't know I'd been holding for 7 years. It didn't feel like revenge. It felt like relief. That might sound strange. You'd expect triumph, right? Chest puffing, arms raised, slow motion walk away from the explosion kind of thing. But that's Hollywood. In real life, the best revenge is the kind that doesn't spike your blood pressure. It's the kind that lets you sleep. And for the first time in years, I was going to sleep like a corpse. I stepped out of the building to a sun that didn't seem so bright it hurt. Same street, same crosswalk, same mediocre taco truck parked out front. But everything looked different. Because everything was different. I took my time walking to the truck. Ordered 3 tacos. Extra guac, because why the hell not? And while I waited, I checked my phone. 12 missed calls. 8 from Amanda. 3 from her sister. 1 from her boss. I didn't answer any of them. But I did click on the voicemail icon just to see what song she was singing now. The first one was frantic. Eli, what the hell was that? Are you kidding me? You completely ambushed me in front of everyone. You humiliated me. The second was quieter. Please just call me. Let's talk. I didn't mean for any of this to happen. The third was a text-to-voicemail accident. I could hear her crying in the background, talking to someone else. Probably her sister. I don't know what to do. He was just sitting there, like it didn't even matter. I think I'm fired. She was right. She was. See, what Amanda didn't know, what none of them knew, is that I hadn't just embarrassed her. I'd finished her. You cheat on someone at work? It's a scandal. You get caught on a security feed doing it in a company parking lot, then get outed in a meeting with senior leadership watching? That's not a scandal. That's a headline. The kind of headline that makes other companies steer clear of your resume for years. Even HR wouldn't touch that one. I picked up my tacos, thanked the guy, and walked to my truck. My lovely, tinted Tacoma with the backup camera I used to record Amanda's little performance the day I confirmed everything. Still had the footage saved. Not to share. Not to go viral. Just to remind myself I wasn't crazy. I drove home in silence. Windows down. Music off. Just the sound of Austin traffic and the occasional, "How the hell did you do that?" text from coworkers who were probably still digesting what happened in the conference room. One of them, Jason, a guy from finance who always smelled like cedar and ambition, sent, "Bro, that was surgical. Surgical. I like that. It meant clean. Precision. No mess. No drama. Just results." When I pulled into our driveway, her car wasn't there. Good. That gave me time. Amanda and I shared the house, technically, but it had always felt like mine. I paid the down payment. I picked the paint. I was the one who fixed the garbage disposal when she clogged it with kale stems last fall because she didn't want to touch slimy trash. She moved in with me after the wedding. Said she'd help with the bills. She paid Spotify. Now, she wasn't going to have a key for much longer. I walked straight to the office and opened the drawer where I kept our paperwork. Pulled out the prenup. We signed it after a weekend fight, when Amanda accused me of being too controlling about money. She wanted reassurance. I gave it to her. But the prenup had a clause she never really read, or at least never thought would apply. Infidelity voids joint claim to shared property in the event of public moral turpitude. Fancy legal talk. But basically, cheat in a way that costs your job, reputation, and livelihood, and you walk away with whatever you came in with. Amanda had come in with a lease agreement, student loan debt, and a white Jetta with a check engine light that blinked like a warning. I had the house. And now, I had the clause to keep it. I called my lawyer, Frank. Reliable guy. War vet. Looked like a golden retriever, but built like a wolf. "Frank," I said, ready to activate Clause 4C. He didn't even pause. "The Amanda clause?" "Yup. Sending papers by Monday." I hung up and started packing her things. Not angrily. Not in a fit of rage. Just methodical. Sweaters. Makeup. Favorite mugs. The gold throw blanket she insisted on keeping over the couch that shed glitter for weeks after she bought it. I put it all in boxes. Taped them shut. Labeled each one. Bedroom. Office. Vanity. I wasn't doing it to be cruel. I was doing it to be clear. There would be no long conversations. No weepy reunions. No, but we can still be friends. You don't cheat with a parking lot audience and then negotiate closure. Not in this lifetime. I just finished sealing the third box when the front door opened. Amanda stood there, keys in one hand, phone in the other, her face looking like someone had told her she was the last one out of the bunker before the bomb hit. "You're really doing this?" she asked. I already did. Her eyes flicked to the boxes. "You didn't even talk to me. You didn't talk to me when you decided the intern needed CPR in your car. That's not fair." "It's accurate." She took a step forward. I didn't move. She stopped. "I made a mistake." "No," I said. "You made a choice." Silence. She looked at the boxes again. "So what now? You just throw away 7 years." "You threw them away. I just labeled the garbage." Her lip trembled. She'd always been good at the crying thing. Could summon tears like an actor who never quite got famous. I didn't bite. Instead, I handed her an envelope. "What's this?" she asked. "Official notice. You're being removed from the deed. Lawyer says it'll take 2 weeks. You can't do that." I did do that. Prenup. Section 4C. Public moral turpitude. Look it up. She stared at the paper like it was written in another language. Maybe it was. Amanda was always more of a vibes person than a details person. "I have nowhere to go," she whispered. "Not my problem anymore." She blinked. "You're really just done?" I nodded. "Was done the second you unbuttoned your blouse for an intern who thinks memes are strategy." She tried to cry again. I closed the door, locked it, sat down on the couch, turned on the TV, and for the first time in years, the silence wasn't heavy. It was earned. The thing about Amanda is she always thought she was the smartest person in the room, even when she wasn't, especially when she wasn't. She had this way of squinting when someone else was talking, like your words were giving her a headache. If she didn't come up with it, it didn't count. If she didn't pitch it, it wasn't worth funding. And if she wasn't the star, she'd start a fire just to make people watch her burn. So no, I didn't expect her to walk away quietly. The boxes sat untouched on the porch for 2 days. By the third, they were gone, probably dragged into her sister's apartment across town. Probably stuffed into a guest room next to old Pilates gear and wedding magazines that aged like spoiled milk. I wasn't worried about where she landed. I was watching where she'd strike. Because someone like Amanda doesn't take a loss. She plots a comeback, a reinvention, a counter-narrative designed to make you look like the villain in the story you bled to write. And sure enough, it started with the one thing she still had. Social media. A week after the conference room fallout, she updated her LinkedIn. Former senior strategist currently consulting passionate about authentic brand storytelling. Translation. Unemployed, but pretending it's on purpose. The next day, a post appeared on her Instagram. A new handle I didn't recognize at first. At the Amanda Edit. Clever. Minimalist bio. Tastefully sad profile picture. And a caption that practically oozed curated grief. Sometimes, rock bottom is the clean slate you didn't know you needed. Thank you to those who've reached out. I'm not okay, but I will be. Black heart. It had 413 likes in the first hour. Half the comments were the usual woo-woo nonsense. "You got this, Queen Crown." "Sending light and healing sparkles." "Rebirth is messy, but so worth it." The other half? Those were for me. Not by name, of course. Amanda knew better than to outright accuse me. But the implication was clear. She was the betrayed one. The blindsided woman. The sad wife just trying to move forward after some unexpected fallout. I nearly laughed when I read the phrase unexpected fallout. What part of doing the horizontal limbo with a college intern in a parking lot during work hours was unexpected, Amanda? I didn't comment, didn't like, didn't share, but I did screenshot it. Because I was building something. Something bigger than a petty clapback or a sappy quote tweet. I was building a reputation firewall, a wall so high, so thick, that not even Amanda's polished victimhood could climb over it. First brick? The truth. I wrote a short post. Just 2 paragraphs. Professional tone. No names. Transparency matters. Especially in a workplace. As many of you know, I recently exited my previous role after uncovering conduct that violated our firm's core ethics. It was a hard decision, but one I stand by. I'm excited to be starting fresh at a new agency built on trust, collaboration, and actual creative integrity. If you're looking for real strategy, built from results, not resumes, let's talk. No hashtags, no tags, no drama. But the comments? They got the message. Coworkers chimed in with subtle nods. Glad you got out of that toxic circus. Still wild how that went down. You handled it with grace, man. People forget receipts are a form of strategy too. Amanda didn't comment, but I know she saw it. Because 2 days later, she emailed me directly. Subject line, one last thing. I clicked it while eating lunch at my new desk, in a glass-walled office with an espresso machine that didn't leak every third cup. Eli, I just want to say I'm sorry. Again, not for what happened, not entirely, but for how we got there. I was unhappy. I didn't know how to say it without making everything worse. That doesn't excuse anything, I know. But it's true. You didn't deserve that. But I also didn't deserve to be humiliated in front of everyone I work with. That moment in the meeting, it broke something. You could have handled it privately. We both could have. I guess what I'm saying is, we both burned this down. And maybe we should stop throwing ashes at each other. Amanda. It was the most Amanda apology possible. No real ownership. Just damage control wrapped in carefully neutral language. We both burned this down. No, Amanda. You lit the match. I just refused to suffocate in the smoke. I didn't reply. I let her words hang in the void where her integrity used to be. Instead, I called Frank, my lawyer, and gave him the green light on the final motion. Formal removal of Amanda from the property deed and joint banking access. We delayed it out of courtesy. I wasn't feeling courteous anymore. Frank filed the paperwork that afternoon. By morning, Amanda had no legal connection to me. No address. No shared assets. No stake. She was, in the eyes of the law, a stranger. And just like that, I was free. But it wasn't over. Because I knew she'd try one last time. Amanda always did. And sure enough, it came a week later, at a local creative networking event hosted by our old firm. I wasn't planning to go, but my new agency asked me to attend as a strategic representative. And there she was, across the rooftop bar, nursing a cocktail and a curated expression of vague sadness. She spotted me, walked over. Alone this time. No interns in sight. Hey, she said. I nodded. Amanda, you look good. So do the NDAs I'm not bound by, I said. She flinched. Still sharp, she muttered. Still blunt, I said. It saves time. She looked down at her drink. I meant what I said. About stopping the fire. I tilted my head. Amanda, you're the one standing in kerosene asking why I brought a match. Silence. I lost everything, she said. No, I replied. You gave everything up. For what? A quick thrill? A dopamine hit from some guy who couldn't pitch a banner ad without 3 emojis and a meme reference. She looked up, eyes wet. Do you hate me? I thought about it. Took my time. No, I don't hate you. I pity you. She blinked. That's worse. I know. Then I walked away. I didn't look back. Didn't need to. Because that was the last time Amanda ever stood in my line of sight. The last time she'd be able to turn my story into hers. And when I stepped outside into the cool Austin night, I realized something. It didn't feel like an ending. It felt like a prologue to a story she'd never get to write. You'd think that was the end of it. A rooftop confrontation, a final conversation, a neat little bow. But people like Amanda don't go away quietly. They reappear in subtweets, in mutual friend whispers, in carefully crafted Medium posts written like diary entries for an audience of one. And sure enough, 2 weeks after that rooftop party, there it was. Healing After Corporate Betrayal, My Journey from Silence to Voice, by Amanda Kay. She published it on a lifestyle blog for modern professional women in transition. A few thousand followers, maybe more. The site had a soft lavender layout, inspirational quotes in looping fonts, and a curated vibe of faux vulnerability. Think, I got laid off, but it's a spiritual rebirth meets, I cheated, but I was finding myself. The post? It was a masterclass in deflection. She never used my name. Too smart for that. But the breadcrumbs were generous. I was once the top strategist at a fast-paced Austin agency. My partner and I worked in different departments, but not on the same page. He blindsided me with a calculated smear campaign. In front of my team. In front of my boss. It was devastating. She even threw in a line that nearly made me spit out my coffee. To be outed for a mistake I made in a moment of confusion, with someone I confided in, was not just cruel. It was abusive. Abusive. That word. Weaponized like a smoke grenade. There was no mention of the intern. No mention of the 5 straight days she snuck out to her car at the same time. No mention of the fact that she did it in the company parking lot under the security camera I helped install during the firm's tech upgrade month. The post got traction. Supportive comments poured in from women around the country. You are so brave. I went through something similar. Never got to tell my side. Men hate when women succeed without them. It was a buffet of validation. And you know what? I didn't respond. Not on the blog. Not on Twitter. Not even when one of my new coworkers forwarded it to me with a note that just said, "This is her, right?" I didn't need to respond. Because I already knew what was coming next. See, Amanda's biggest weakness wasn't men. It was control. She needed to control the room, the story, the emotional weather. And when that didn't work, she controlled the chaos. It's why she cheated, why she lied, why she spun the breakup into a tear-stained soliloquy about growth and betrayal. But you can't control what you don't see coming. And Amanda didn't see what I'd done. Weeks before the blog post, back when she still thought she had a shot at rewriting her image, I got an unexpected message from someone in legal at our old firm. Not my department, not my problem, but they remembered me, trusted me, said they had a question. Turns out, Amanda hadn't just been entertaining interns. She'd been coaching them, slipping them tips about social strategy, editing their reports. In one case, she even rewrote a full brand pitch and let the intern present it as his own. That would have been noble, if not for the part where she billed the hours under her name and took home the bonus tied to the project's success. And the kicker? That intern, the one from the parking lot, had filed an HR complaint after she was fired. Why? Because Amanda told him she'd protect his position if he kept their relationship private, which, in legal language, reads suspiciously close to coercion. Now, the firm couldn't prove it, not outright, but they were conducting a review. Quietly, off the record. They weren't looking to make noise, just to avoid lawsuits. And they asked me, did I have anything that might support this? I did. Remember that security cam footage? Yeah, but I didn't give them that. Instead, I gave them emails. Amanda was sloppy, especially on her work laptop. She once asked me to help migrate her inbox during a software update and forgot to remove access afterward. I hadn't opened it in months, but I had it. The login, the receipts. And oh, were there receipts. One email, coaching the intern on how to present, without sounding like you copied me too closely, winky face. Another, sent late at night, asking him to meet in the parking lot for a quick debrief. One that was just a Google Doc with the pitch outline, and the file history showed she authored every single word. I forwarded everything. Didn't attach a name to it. Just let the metadata do the work. 3 days later, she updated her Instagram again. Sometimes you're forced to let go of what you love to find what you deserve. I'll be pausing this account for a while. Thank you to everyone who supported me. See you on the other side. Translation, she got dropped. No job, no consulting gigs, no apology tour, just digital silence. And still, I didn't post, didn't rub it in. Because revenge doesn't always need to be loud. Sometimes the silence is the statement. But here's the thing I wasn't expecting. Peace is loud in its own way. I started sleeping better, started laughing more. Hell, I even started dating. Casually, cautiously, but without that shadow in the corner of my mind whispering, what if she's lying again? And the best part? I was actually doing great at work. My new firm loved me, gave me autonomy, budget authority, and a team that didn't side-eye me when I pitched something without a buzzword. I ran 2 campaigns in my first month, and both outperformed expectations. One of them, ironically, was a rebranding effort for a women's career network. The theme? Your story told right. Poetic, isn't it? Amanda tried to steal the narrative, tried to flip it into a redemption arc. But she forgot one thing. I don't need to tell my story. I showed it. In real time. With receipts. With restraint. With a strategic precision she could never match. And while she was trying to build a headline, I was already writing her footnote. Some people think revenge is a destination. Like you walk in, plant your little flag of justice, and boom, you're cured. But that's not how it works. Revenge, real revenge, is a reset. It doesn't solve your problems. It just clears the space where they used to be, so you can finally see the life that was hiding behind them. Amanda was gone now. Officially, professionally, and finally, emotionally. The blog post that made her feel seen? Quietly deleted a week later. She needed the audience. I just needed the result. Funny thing is, I wasn't even trying to destroy her. Not at first. All I wanted was truth. Just enough of it in the open air so I could breathe again without second-guessing every laugh, every client call. Every Friday, she came home smelling like mint gum and guilt. But once the mask slipped, once I saw who she really was, I couldn't put it back on. And she couldn't either. Now, don't get me wrong. I didn't walk away spotless. Nobody gets through betrayal without a few bloodstains under the shirt. I lost time. I lost trust. I lost a version of myself that thought love meant giving someone the benefit of the doubt, even when the doubt is screaming into your face like a foghorn. But I also gained something. Perspective, clarity, and, ironically, a promotion. 3 months into my new job, my boss, a no-nonsense woman named Rosa who ran strategy like a general runs a battlefield, called me into her office. I want to give you creative oversight, she said, sliding a document across her desk. Full authority on direction, budget, and team. You've proven you can handle chaos without flinching. I raised an eyebrow. You mean that product launch last week? She smiled, tight-lipped. That. And what you walked away from before you got here. I blinked. I didn't think anyone here knew. I didn't say I read the post, she said, cutting me off. But I know a pivot when I see one. I took the offer. A week later, I had my own team. My own schedule. My own corner office with floor-to-ceiling windows that faced the skyline instead of a loading dock. And for the first time in a long time, I started making plans again. Real plans. Not the, maybe we'll take a trip if we can get time off kind. Not the, maybe we'll try for a kid after this campaign wraps kind. I started looking at apartments in New York just to see. Started writing down ideas for a side consultancy. Started sketching the outlines of a life that didn't have to fit around anyone else's emotional potholes. Then one day, I got a call. Unknown number. I didn't answer. But the voicemail came through anyway. Hey, it's Amanda. I didn't hit play at first. Let it sit there for a while like a fly on the windowsill. Buzzing just loud enough to make you notice, but not loud enough to ruin your day. Eventually, I tapped it. She sounded tired. Not fake tired. Real tired. The kind that seeps into your voice when your version of the story has run out of chapters. I know you probably don't want to hear from me. I wouldn't either. But I wanted to say something. Something I didn't say before. I did what I did because I thought you wouldn't notice. I told myself you were distracted, busy, boring. But the truth is, you were stable. You were safe. And I didn't know how to live in safe. You didn't deserve what I did. You didn't deserve what I said after, either. I don't expect anything. I just wanted to say that. For real. Goodbye. I deleted it. Not because I was angry. Because I'd already heard everything I needed the day I walked out of that boardroom and left her sitting in the wreckage she lit herself. People like Amanda don't realize the most powerful revenge isn't public. It's personal. It's not the toast in front of the team. It's the way I didn't answer the call. It's the way I left her name off my lips and let her sit in the silence where my reaction used to be. It's the fact that when people at my new job ask me if I'm seeing anyone, I don't flinch. I just smile, lean back, and say, not yet. But I'm open. Because I am. Open to new things. Open to better people. Open to life without a leash tied to someone else's secrets. And that's peace. Not the kind you fake with yoga hashtags and blurry sunrise photos. The real kind. The quiet kind. The kind that doesn't need to prove anything, because it already won. I stepped out onto the balcony of my new apartment that night. A third-floor walk-up with skyline views and a small, creaky table just wide enough for a beer and a notebook. Below, the city pulsed. Life moved on. And so did I. Not because I had to. Because I wanted to. Because I could. Because I burned the bridge behind me. And never looked back. Subscribe to the channel